everybody. Bill Murphy here from the CBFCA, and thank you for giving us of your valuable time to attend the CBFCA's lunchtime webinar seminar series. The session today will be presented by presenters from the government body, and it's a long name, their government department, so I'll let them tell you who they are. But we have Michael McGee and Alex Taylor will be presenting to you. They have suggested, and I'll probably tell you this as well, that they have a presentation that they will welcome your questions. Their preference is for questions to be raised after session is finished, so if you can kind of make notes and build those questions up, because they may cover some of that stuff as they go through along the way. So before I hand over to Michael and Alex, just a couple of very brief housekeeping items, if I can. This is an active session, and we would like to have your participation to ask those questions. So if you'd like to ask a question, there is a hand button down there that you'll see, and you can locate that now sitting somewhere just underneath your name. If you can click that button just to get the attention of the presenter, and the presenter then during question time at the end of the session will be able to hand you the microphone so that you can ask your question of them, and as I said, they'll welcome that. So raising the hand is the first thing to get their attention, and the second thing is the button that you click on to actually make that happen. There's a little button, as you'll see again, right at the top there underneath that sort of black square. And it has a talk button. Now, it's a little bit like a talking stick, so if you click it, you have the right then to talk on the microphone. When you're finished with it, you need to click it again to basically hang up the microphone. Click the talk button to talk, and then by all means click the talk button when you're finished. If you forget to do that, we'll remind you. Another point is the chat. If you would prefer to type in your question, down at the bottom you have the ability to type in your question, and you'll see that right at the bottom left of the screen. I've also suggested you can use it for commentary as well, and I guess by that I mean as the session's progressing, and if you might want to make a comment like, well, that's how we do it at our place, or I understand that such and such, or something like that, some commentary that might add to the presentation for all of the attendees. And if there are questions in there, Michael and Alex will keep an eye on those to make sure that they pick those questions up and answer them at the end of the session. So feel free to do that as well along the way. All right, so we are ready to go, and without further ado, I'll just hang up the microphone, and the next voice you hear will be your presenters. Thanks everybody, and enjoy the session.
Thanks for that, Bill. My name is Michael McGee. I work with the Department of Sustainability, Environment, Water, Population and Communities. And today I'm here to talk about the National Television and Computer Recycling Scheme. This presentation is going to cover a bit of a background and overview of the scheme, and I'm mainly going to give that overview. My colleague here with me today, Alex Taylor, is going to talk a bit about the impact that this scheme has on importers, particularly importers of televisions, computers and computer products, and he's also going to go over the very critical role that customs brokers and freight forwarders play within this scheme. This is a fairly timely presentation, as there are some upcoming changes to the regulations that underpin this scheme that will have further impacts on importers, and it's very important to understand for customs brokers and freight forwarders what those changes will look like. So what is the National Television and Computer Recycling Scheme? This is a government-regulated and industry-run national scheme for televisions and computers. Essentially what that means is that government sets regulation around computer and television recycling and requires industry to fund and provide recycling services. The scheme is funded by importers and manufacturers of television and computer products. The way that we identify importers and manufacturers of televisions and computers, particularly importers, is based on the import records. And so it is absolutely critical that those import records are accurate so that importers are accurately identified under the scheme and have the level of their liability correctly assessed. The scheme will provide free-of-charge recycling drop-off points across Australia by the end of 2013. This is what's known as a product stewardship scheme, or also sometimes known as extended producer responsibility program. Its product stewardship is essentially an approach to managing waste and environmental impacts of products that recognises that everyone that's involved in manufacturing, supplying, handling and disposing of products and materials has a shared responsibility for the environmental impacts that those products can have. To recognise and to provide a national framework for product stewardship within Australia, the Commonwealth Government introduced the Product Stewardship Act in around August 2011. That Product Stewardship Act allows for a range of product stewardship programs. Possibilities include voluntary, co-regulatory and mandatory. There's still voluntary product stewardship programs in development. There's no collection and recycling services right across Australia, and I'll go into some of those actual outcomes that they're required to achieve in a moment. These industry arrangements are funded by the liable importers and manufacturers, and to date 3 industry arrangements have been approved.